Commander Jim Banks joined. Commander, have you fleeted up to captain yet? You're still a commander?
Congratulations to Captain, to our friend Sean Spicer. He's gonna be a great leader. You know, Steve, I never made it past lieutenant. I was a lieutenant in the Navy Reserves. Very proud to be a Navy veteran. I served in Afghanistan. Happy 250 birthday to the greatest branch and the greatest military in the history of the world. Go Navy, beat Army.
Yeah, I was a lieutenant too, which is equivalent to an Army captain, we might add. Senator Banks, your day job now. Just about Sunday, it was pretty impressive. I was so glad the president finally had a chance to go out and be with the fleet at sea. What are your thoughts about what you saw on Sunday about our great Navy?
Those sailors love their commander-in-chief, and you've seen what's happened in just a short period of time, Steve. Morale is way up in the military. Recruitment numbers are way up since the day that Donald Trump won on Election Day in November. The Navy has far surpassed its recruitment goals. That's a big difference from the last 4 years under the weakest commander-in-chief that we've ever had. These soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines, they love Donald Trump. They're proud to serve their country. And you saw that on full display in Norfolk on Sunday with President Trump there. The projection of strength of the United States military is seen nowhere more than with our great Navy around the world. And those sailors know it. They're proud to wear that uniform. And I thought it was a great display. I'm proud of President Trump and the First Lady for going there to be with our sailors and celebrating this very, very important occasion for our country and for our Navy.
Just want to give our viewers a heads up. The Prime Minister of Canada will be arriving momentarily. We're going to do a split screen. There's going to be a bilat. They'll probably be during the Charlie Kirk show, but we'll show the arrival. I might add that there is a color guard out there. I'll comment more on that a little later. Senator Banks, there's show horses and workhorses. You're known in the Senate as a workhorse. Talk to me about this very big issue, vital issue that you're drilling down on about a thing called the census. What's the problem? What's the issue? And why has it got Jim Banks' attention? You're known as a guy that doesn't waste your time on things. Why are you focused on this?
Well, Steve, you patched into an important event that I hosted in Indianapolis a few weeks ago, calling for a 9-0 map in Indiana for our state legislature and our governor to redistrict in Indiana. There's a big reason that a lot of us are calling for this to happen right now, and the biggest reason is because the 2020 census was a complete fraud, and we now know that. I mean, the numbers bear this out. It's been proven to be true that the Biden administration, when they gathered all of the data from the 2020 census, they used this shady privacy formula to shield illegals in the 2020 census. And this is why President Trump is calling for a new census, first and foremost, and I fully support that. But this week, yesterday, I sent a letter to Secretary Lutnick at Commerce, which oversees the census, and I called on him to do a few things. First and foremost, release the data from the 2020 census and tell us if, which will tell us a lot. President Trump wants a new census, and that's a big lift. That there will be a lot that goes into that. But I think if the Department of Commerce releases this data and shows what happens with this shady privacy formula, that should give the motivation for all of these state legislators in Indiana and other states. Missouri's already did a midterm redistricting. The Democrats are seizing on this redistricting in blue states like California. But the only way to right the wrong is to go into states like Indiana and redraw. Indiana is a barn red state. We are a very Republican state. You can pick up 2 House districts in Indiana, and the justification for doing that is because they were using this formula, and we don't know until the Department of Commerce releases this data from the fraudulent 2020 census. We don't know exactly what the populations were in, say, the 1st district, which is represented by a Democrat, Frank Mervan in Indiana, or the 9th district that's represented by a Republican, Aaron Houchin. I think these numbers are going to bear it out to show that the way that these districts were drawn back in 2022 wasn't completely fair. So I've also asked Secretary Lutnick to get back to us on whether or not the shady privacy formula will be used in the 2030 census. We need to do away with it forever and set the groundwork for that right now. And then also we need to make sure that the citizenship status is a question on the 2030 census, and it is completely false that the Supreme Court struck that down. And that is not what happened. That is not what the Supreme Court struck down. It is not unconstitutional to ask a citizenship question on the census, and whether we do redo the census right now, or when the next census is supposed to happen and scheduled in 2030, there must be a citizenship question on that census to make sure that illegals are not counted in any census again. So that, I think this is one of the biggest political controversies in American history, what the Biden administration did to cook the books on the census and how they stole congressional seats and electoral college votes from the last election. I mean, Steve, I'll quit rambling with this. Florida should have had 2 more seats. Texas should have had 1 more seat. And Minnesota, Rhode Island, and Colorado should have had 1 less seat. And if you do the math on the electoral college, President Trump would have won the last election even without winning Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. He would have won the electoral college vote in the 2024 election without those states. Thank God he won them anyway. He needed them because of this fraudulent fake census and the way these districts were drawn in the last election. We have to right the wrong and do something about it, and that's why I'm leading the fight to do that.
This is one of the most important things. Let's do a little pattern recognition. A couple of minutes I got you for. You've got this, which is absolutely the foundational element, right, and so important. But also, you guys are sitting up there right now in a Schumer shutdown because of health care to illegal aliens. And the President of the United States is now, with his advisors, thinking, do I do Title 10, a martial law, or we do Insurrection Act? Because of because the inability and really the resistance of Democratic officials in Chicago and Portland, both governors and mayors, about the deportation of illegal aliens in this country. What does that tell us about the modern Democratic Party, Senator Banks?
Well, it tells you a lot. I mean, it tells you that they cheated by flooding the country with illegals and then counting them in the census for the makeup of the congressional maps and the electoral college vote, because all they care about, Steve, is power and permanent power, and the way that they gain permanent power is to cook the books and make up these congressional seats and add fake electoral college votes by counting illegal immigrants. So that's who they are. This is who they are the party that represents illegal immigrants and the radical party that does not represent real America in this country. My dad, you and I have talked about this before. My dad was a union, a Democrat, factory worker all of his life. He voted. He thought the Democrats represented the working man, and voted that way all of his life until Donald Trump came down that escalator and became a Trump Republican. And that's because our party under Donald Trump, unlike the Republican Party of the past, represents these working men and women, and the Democrat Party represents something that my dad and my grandpa would never recognize. That Democrat Party, they represent illegals and the radical transgender movement and the radical element in this country that wants to tear this country apart. And that's why Republicans are winning with Donald Trump, and we got to keep it that way. We can't let them cheat again and fake censuses to create fake congressional maps and electoral college votes. We got to stop them from ever doing that again.
Same with my dad, a Union Democrat, loved Reagan and loved Trump. I mean, was one of Trump's first guys that came and said, that guy's got to be president. Real quickly, we got 30 seconds. The Hoosiers are known for common sense and fairness. Your constituents, they have your back on this, sir?
Totally. And they want, Hoosiers want us to right the wrong, go in and save this country, redraw these congressional maps. And there's a pathway here to draw fair maps in Indiana that give 2 more Republican congressmen and the majority to keep the majority and support President Trump for another 2 years.
Senator, what's your social media? What are your coordinates? People want to follow you. Where do they go?
Go to @Senator Banks on X. Find me at Senator Jim Banks on Facebook. We appreciate the feedback and the support.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.